Welcome back, guys. Today we are here with one of our students, Yasemin. She started her rent-to-rent business while she was on maternity leave as a project manager, and she's taken on 3 units so far, and we're going to find out how she's been finding her journey in rent-to-rent. Back a few months ago when you first approached myself and Leena about the rent-to-rent business, the rent-to-rent model and how it worked. What were you doing back then?
So I was on maternity leave. I was actually already kind of thinking about it when I first went on maternity leave back at the beginning of January. I was just procrastinating. I was just too afraid, thinking of, how much risk there was, am I going to be able to do it? And then it came to around August time and I just thought to myself, really, what have I got to lose? And I really wanted to make sure I start before I went back to work to see if it's going to work for me. Seeing your journey was really inspiring when I approached you guys about it, and then I just thought, you know what, let me just jump into it. What's the most that I can lose? And that's how I basically started.
So for those 2 years, were you ever feeling, oh my god, this is something that I would want to do, but you just didn't want to take that step yet?
Really liked my job, but I just thought that there's so much more to my 9 to 5, especially once I had my first kid. I want to be able to spend more time with him. I was just really comfortable, so I didn't think about it, but I was following you guys and just thinking, wow, look at what they're doing, but then just thinking, I don't have the time, making up loads of excuses. But then once I had my second child, I just thought, I can't do this anymore. I was just feeling like I was losing way too much time away from them. So I thought, this is going to be a good start for me and hopefully do well enough to be able to leave my 9 to 5.
What's the goal for you?
Spend time with my kids, be able to attend all of their assemblies, important moments that they have and milestones that they're hitting. I feel like I'm missing them because I'm having to go back to work. I spend that time after work and the weekends. I just feel like it's just not enough.
So your first property was a rent-to-rent deal, but the property we're in right now, it's actually on a management-based model.
Yeah. My client essentially got this on a rent-to-rent deal, and then he asked me to manage it for him. So it's completely hands-off investment for him. I deal with all the guests, I deal with all the issues, any of the maintenance, and then at the end of the month, he gets his pay and I get my commission.
The investor is the person that's paying the rent right now. Yeah. How much is he getting per month and how much do you take home?
I take a 10% commission from the revenue, but I just recently got a 50-day booking for this property. I'm making £510 commission on that for the 50 days, and then for that 1 month he's making about £800 profit, and then obviously the months before and after he's also going to be making profit depending on the occupancy for the remainder of the month. But on average I've been making about £300 commission on a monthly basis.
Well, considering that this did not require any upfront costs, the investor is the person that's paying for the rent and bills. It's literally risk-free.
Yeah.
I think that's a really good deal.
Yeah, for me it was really good as well because I just thought there's no risk at all. If it's not making enough money, I'm not the one paying the rent. I'm working really hard and treating it as though it's my own estate to try to make as much profit for the investor as possible, because the more I make him, the more I'm going to get as well.
How did you find the investor?
What happened with that is my first deal, I got that through a deal sourcer and we got along really well. And so what he did was when he found this deal for the client, and the client mentioned that he wants a hands-off investment, so he actually recommended me. He messaged me saying, Yaz, do you want to do this? And I actually said to him, I've never managed a property before. Am I going to be able to do this? And he said, well, you're doing it already with your own rent-to-rent, so essentially it's the same thing.
Why did you feel like you wouldn't be able to do something like this?
I think it's because it was so new. For me, my reputation is really important, way more important than the money. And I was just thinking to myself, what if I don't do well and then it's going to affect the client? They're going to think that it's really bad because of her, when that's not the case. But then once I actually met the investor, and I was very transparent with him, so I told him it's my first management property, but I've already got 2 essays of my own.
Why did you feel the need to be honest with him?
I think transparency is really important for trust. If there's no trust, there's no business relationship. Even in your normal day-to-day life, trust is really important. And for me, if I'm upfront and transparent, when things do go wrong, he's going to be very understanding about it because I've already told him everything.
So Yasemin, what would you say to the people that are sitting at home and they're wondering, I need a lot of money to get into this?
I think that that's not true. You know, there is always different ways. If you really want it, you can think of different ways to be able to do it, just similar to how I did it. I knew I wanted to grow, but I knew I didn't have enough upfront capital to just get all these rent-to-rents on my own. So I would definitely say to get educated, because I had the courage to do it because I knew that I had the knowledge to be able to do this, and also just be creative and courageous, you know, to be able to do something that might be out of your comfort zone, but know that do really well after as well.
But why did you want to get educated? Why didn't you just go do it yourself?
Because I already watched loads of YouTube videos for that whole year anyway, but there's so much out there that I just thought it was just too overwhelming, you know, not knowing whether which one's correct, where the mistakes may be, and I just thought if I don't get educated, yeah, I'll learn, but I'm going to be losing more money in the process, so why not pay up front, learn how I should be doing this properly with the correct knowledge, and actually save more money over time.
Did you really have to do that, or was that something new?
So I knew that that's how, you know, you speak to them, try to convince them, but I had no idea how to convince them. If I did it with no education, I would have just called and said like, hi, do you do company-led? And I would be telling them that I'm doing Airbnb and so on, and probably get the phone hung up on me loads of times. But it was through the education that I knew, you know, how I'm going to answer those questions, how I should be doing all of that, and speaking to the agents and building those relationships.
So I want to also know then, what's your routine like? You've got children, you've got a job as well, and you've got this business.
Yeah.
Like, what does the average Monday look like for you?
That sometimes it does get overwhelming, I'm not gonna lie about it, but I just keep telling myself why I'm doing it. But like on Monday, 6 a.m. I will be up, and then kind of getting them dressed, feeding them and everything, getting them ready for school, or my mum's. And then I'll take them to nursery and then to my mum's, and then I come home. So I'm usually home by around 8:30 to 9 o'clock. My calls start around 10, so between 9 o'clock and 10 o'clock I'll focus on the business, so optimizing my listings, checking my prices, you know, checking any guest messages and so on. Then throughout the day I'll be doing my daytime job, but any free time that I get in between that, so like lunchtime for example, I'll be focusing on the business again. Around 5 o'clock I'll leave my job, go to pick up my kids, come back home, you know, cook dinner, all of that kind of stuff, and then the kids are in bed at 7:30, then I'm back doing the business again.
Wow, there you have it, guys. That's what the triple shift looks like. I love how you broke that down. I hope you guys can see, in order to get a head start of the day, you have to wake up earlier, right? There's a reason why there's a saying, early bird gets the worm.
Yeah.
Everyone is going to be wondering, since you're doing so many things, Yasemin, how much time are you spending on this per day?
It takes me half an hour maximum per day. Yeah, I walked through what I'm doing. It sounds like it's a lot, but the only time where I spend more time is when I'm furnishing the property at the beginning, making sure that everything's okay, and it's because we're trying to go live as soon as possible. Once it's live, because we've got the systems in place already, it doesn't take more than half an hour a day.
Why do you think people think that you need 8 hours a day to do this?
I think because it just looks like a lot to them. You know, it's like property, okay, there's loads of guests coming in and out, so I'm gonna have to deal with all of that. But if you've got your systems in place, you don't need to. You're not the cleaner, you're not the maintenance person, they're the ones doing all of that, and really you're just managing them and making sure that they've done a good job.
My next question then would be, for the people that think money is the root of all evil, you shouldn't aspire to do all this, it's not good for women to go out of their shell and go start a business, they should just stay at home, they should be modest, let the men do all that. But what would you say to those people about the beauty of business?
If you want to make sure that you're doing well in life, kind of the foundation of our business is helping others. How are you helping people if you're not making money? You know, like, yeah, with everything that's going on in the world, I want to be able to help, and what I can only do is financially or spread the news, but how am I doing this financially if I've got all these bills to pay and don't have any extra money to be able to provide that? So I don't think that money is the root of all evil.
How long did it take to furnish the whole unit then? You mentioned that there was already furniture here, but you replaced it?
So it was around 4 grand was for the furnishing, around 1,200 was my profit. My labour for doing it, the investor paid me 1,200 to set it up for him.
So the investor paid for the rent, the bills, and he also paid for the setup, doing everything.
Doing it for him, exactly.
Okay, so it's 4 grand minus 1.2, which is 2.8k?
So he paid 5 grand in total,
5 grand.
and then around 3.8 of it was the furniture, and then 1.2 of it was my profit. So it's trying to kind of make money wherever I can. Oh, I just got a booking.
Did you actually? How many nights is it?
Let's have a look. 3 nights, and that's in May. So actually my profit now has gone up from 1.2 to to probably about 1.5. That's what's so exciting. I think that's what kind of pushed me as well. So when I did my London one and then I set it out, put it on Airbnb, that first night I couldn't sleep. I was like, oh my God, what have I done? Am I going to get any bookings? It was like within 24 hours, I got 3 bookings.
Where were they? Like, what were the prices of them?
So they were, because I went live in December, so it was Christmas season. So then I got like a 7-night booking for one, and then it was like a 4-night one, 3-night one. I think they totaled probably up to like 2K, those 3. That was the light bulb moment for me, thinking, okay, I'm onto something. I need to really pursue this.
So what does life look like for you maybe 5 years from now?
Provide for my parents is a really, really big one. My mom is like my right hand. Like, she's supporting me through everything, and same as my dad, doing what they can with what they had for us. And I want to be able to give that back to them. 5 years time to be earning enough to be able to support them and not worrying about them having to work, having a better lifestyle. I've been lucky, I've got a good enough lifestyle, but you can always do better, you know, in a bigger house, having more space for my kids, allowing them to be able to go to good schools without worrying about money, essentially.
So is there anything that you would like to say to the viewers out there watching this video? Something you wish that you knew and the others probably don't know?
For me, it is that actually it can be a hands-off business if it's systemized, because I thought, yeah, I can make really good money from it, but I didn't know there's all these systems to make sure it's as hands-off as possible. I did think I'll kind of leave my own job, do this because there's a lot of money in it, but still have to be working quite hard. But then once I went through the training and then got the education, I realized, okay, if I can set it up in a way, it's very systemized. I've got Ring doorbells to see who's coming in, I've got the minute device to monitor noise and all of that, making sure my cleaners are basically my ears and eyes in the property. Actually, it's not hands-on. It's not very hands-on.
What is the end goal for you financially?
You know what, I'm not after being a millionaire or anything like that. For me, it's as long as I'm able to provide and not worry about money. 15 to 20K a month would be amazing. Wow. You know, that's a lot of money still, but I'm seeing like from this business that actually I can hit that quite quickly if I'm really determined to scale and do my best.
Thank you guys for watching. See you on the next one.